YTBC, what's the deal? So there's an upcoming heavyweight fight that's going to take place August 14th. Antonio Tarver versus Steve Cunningham. Before I get into my prediction on the fight and just my analysis on the fight, let me play a little clip that happened the other day when both of these fighters were on a conference call. Let me just play a little clip really quick.
I'm giving you the utmost respect because I know you're a warrior. I know you coming to win, and I know I got my hands full. That's why I'm busting my ass in training camp. If you ask me, I think you taking me lightly. You overlooking me. How the hell you gonna break camp and go to Vegas and commentate like you got it easy? You feel me? I wouldn't break camp for you, but you gonna break camp for me? Good luck, August 14th.
If you think guys are ready to fight for 2 days, is breaking camp.
Nigga, you out your rabbit ass mind. You gonna fly to Vegas and think you gonna fucking beat me August 14th? You crazy. You out your mind. You distracted. You distracted.
I'm distracted. I'm ready to fight,
homie.
Do you understand?
You distracted. You don't know what's coming at your ass August 14th. You playing with it.
All right, y'all. If you want to listen to that whole clip, just go on YouTube, type in Tarver Cunningham conference call. It's all over YouTube, all over the internet. And it's a real fight, man. These dudes are showing some disdain for each other at first. You know, I know both guys are respectable guys, but I'm glad to see there's some fire underneath both these guys, and they really have a point to prove. You know, Tarver's 46 years old, man, and he's trying to do something that only a few fighters are able to do, and that's have success after the age of 40. Larry Holmes was able to do it. Roberto Duran has some slight success. Bernard Hopkins, Archie Moore. The list goes on and on of guys that have had success after the age of 40. Did I mention George Foreman? But when you break this fight down, both these guys haven't, they're not career heavyweights. I was looking at their last 5 fights. If you look at the resumes, Cunningham has fought the better opposition. He has fought 2 guys in the heavyweight top 10 and my top 10 in Glasscoff and Tyson Fury. He's 0-2 against both of those guys. The Fury fight, he had a good showing. He knocked Fury down, but he got knocked out. It was the only fight Cunningham has got knocked out in, and it took a 6'9", 260-pounder in Tyson Fury to knock him out. I've seen him get knocked down against Hernandez at cruiserweight. I've seen him get knocked down against Amir Mansour, and he got up and he won the Mansour fight. I also seen him fight a big Samoan guy, Natu. What's the dude's name? Vizania, I think that was the dude's name. I've seen him fight Manuel Quezada. So I've seen his heavyweight fights, and he's had some mixed results. Cunningham has had mixed results at the championship level also. When he fought at cruiserweight, there was about a 6-year span where he fought for world titles or was in a world title eliminator, and mixed results. Kind of like a 500 record in those fights. Antonio Tarver, on the other hand, his best weight was 50 pounds ago at 175. But again, I've seen him have some good fights. He did test positive for a banned substance. He said that he didn't know, that he took a banned substance, yada, yada. I mean, they only fined the dude $2,500. I think he set out for like a year. But I've seen him, his last fights against Jonathan Banks. I think Tarver, 46 years old, he's going to kind of do what Archie Moore did, have economical foot movement, stay very calm, very relaxed. He knows how to fight under pressure. He's not going to go out there and burn a lot of energy. And even when he was fighting Roy Jones Jr. and Montel Griffin, and when he was competing at 175, he was still an economical guy, a long, rangy counterpuncher with a strong-ass left hand. And Tarver has a lot of faith in his left hand. If you watch his fights against Jonathan Banks, Latif Coyote, the Danny Green fight, the Nagy Aguilera fight, Tarver still has confidence in that left hand. Now, I know he did knock out Roy Jones Jr. Years and years ago, over 10 years ago. Tarver's always had a strong left hand, but he has confidence in it, man. If you listen to him talk about winning the heavyweight title, he's been saying this for the last 3 or 4 years that he's going to win the heavyweight title. Now, I don't know if he can do it. Saying it and doing it is one thing, but beating Cunningham would definitely get him closer. Some of the advantages that Cunningham is used to having, hand speed, I don't think he's going to have the hand speed in this fight. Like I said, both guys are not natural heavyweights, so they have quicker hands because they're coming from, smaller divisions where guys are usually faster. So Cunningham's not going to have the speed advantage in this fight. That's the advantage he had over some guys like a Tyson Fury or a Mir Mansour or even a Glaskov. Now, his work rate, I think he's going to try to outwork Antonio Tarver. Because like I said, Tarver is going to stay calm, relaxed, and economical. He's not going to go out there and throw a million punches, but Cunningham does come to fight. With Cunningham, he'll try to go out there and box, but somehow, some way, he'll get himself into a fight. He loves to fight. I even heard Brother Nassim Richardson say that. He was joking, saying, yeah, we want Steve to get in there and throw a jab and box, but we know Steve loved to fight. And that's the thing. It's going to be interesting to see when these guys get into exchanges how Cunningham is going to stand up to Tarver's left hand. I'm not making his left hand out to be the most powerful left hand I've ever seen, but Tarver is very confident throwing his left hand, man. And it's accurate, it's sharp, and he does have some sting on it. Ask Jonathan Banks, ask Danny Green, ask all these other guys, even ask Latif Coyote. Another guy that felt that left hand, got buzzed, stumbled a few times, and he was a power punching cruiserweight, and Tarver was able to buzz him. Cunningham, to me, is pretty much a cruiserweight just fighting at heavyweight. He's a small heavyweight, and that's fine. You got to respect Steve Cunningham, man, because he gets in there with guys weigh 280 pounds, 260 pounds, and he comes in at 207, 206, and he gets in there and he fights. The Tyson Fury fight, Fury had about 55 pounds on him. The Natu Vizania fight, I think that dude was like 280 pounds. So this dude's giving up 60, 70 pounds in fights. And he's not a KO artist. That's what I'm saying about him. He has to want to outwork Tarver. But Tarver's going to sit back in the cut, pick his spots. So I think Cunningham is going to have to win a majority of the early rounds, because I think Tarver's going to try to come on towards the end of the fight. I think he's going to stay economical, pick his shots, peck away, chip away, try to land left hands, weather the storm. Even though Cunningham isn't a ambush type guy, he will start throwing combinations. And once he gets loose and start warming up, he likes to throw combos and he likes to fight. So long as Tarver can weather the storm, place shots in there while he's weathering the storm to get Cunningham's respect. Once he gets his respect later in the fight, I think Tarver will try to take control. But I also think Cunningham's going to try to win the early rounds. And then when Tarver does decide to try to take control, Cunningham's going to be right there to stymie all that and be in much more physical condition than Tarver to where he can get those late rounds also. But, like I said, Tarver, he's not your regular 46-year-old. He's still mentally sharp. He still can articulate his words. He's still concise when he speaks. He's not punch drunk. He hasn't never been knocked out. I think B-Hop knocked him down. I think one of his gloves touched the ground when Bernard Hopkins fought him. And damn, who else knocked him down, man? Not Montel Griffin. Somebody else knocked him down when he was light heavyweight. But he's always gotten up. Tarver's never been put to sleep, man. He's still motivated. I watched some training footage of him and his son. I know his son turned professional. And that sometimes can motivate you. When you're an athlete and your son or your brother or somebody that's a little younger than you, and you guys are both in the gym working, that can motivate an older athlete sometimes. But this dude's been fighting with a chip on his shoulder since he turned professionals. So Tarver and Cunningham pretty much fighting with chips on their shoulder. Their careers are almost parallel. Because if you look at Tarver, he's had to go overseas and fight Danny Green. He hasn't been overseas as much as Cunningham, but they're pretty much parallel as far as getting overlooked, not getting their just due. They both had mixed results in championship level fights. We know that Tarver, got those 2 Roy Jones wins and plus the knockout. It's going to be a good fight. Two guys that are older, but they're in shape, and they're not your typical 46-year-old and 39-year-old, especially not Cunningham. That dude like he about 25 years old. He's always been ripped and in shape. I've never seen a dude out of shape. That's why it's probably hard for him to go up to 200 pounds because he's, in such, just absolute dynamite condition, man. I mean, Steve Cunningham is one of the most well-conditioned boxers I've seen in the last 15 years. You look at his body type and his physique and how many times he's been knocked down and just his boxing career, the dude's in shape. And he can still talk. He can still, like I said, both these guys can still think in the ring. They're not punch drunk, haven't been knocked out a lot of times. But I'm going to go with, and it took me a while, man, to pick the winner in this fight. I wanted to make this video like a week ago, but I had to really study these guys again, even though I know what they fight like. But I really have to just sit down and study these guys and where they're at in their career. And it's a 50-50 fight, man. I really don't know who to pick on this one. But if I had to pick a fighter, I will go with Cunningham to eke it out. I just think his work rate will get the best of Tarver, and I know Tarver's going to bring it. And he's fought at the world, the elite class, world title level, fights. But so has Cunningham. Not probably to the degree of Tarver, because he's been in there with bigger names. But like I said, Cunningham had his little streak about 6 years where he were fighting world championship level cruiserweights. And one thing about Cunningham is sometimes he fights straight up in the air. And he is 6'3", so he's not a short guy, but he fights very tall sometimes, but he'll be straight up. And I remember I was watching the what's that dude's name? The Hernandez fight, a cruiserweight for the IBF strap, and Hernandez was a southpaw, and he was landing that left hand clean on Cunningham. And that's what Tarver's going to want to land. He's going to let Cunningham get comfortable, even though Cunningham's very smart and he's not going to try to fall into the traps of Tarver. But still, though, once the fight goes on, there's little times where you're going to get touched. And I think Tarver's going to want to touch Cunningham when Cunningham's coming forward. And Tarver's landing the cut, like I said, picking his shots. And if Hernandez was able to land left hands, I know Tarver will be able to land left hands because his left hand is more educated than Hernandez is, in my opinion. Tarver, tough chin. He's not going to be knocked out. I don't see any knockouts. And if I do see a knockdown, I think it'd be Tarver. That left hand is pretty damn strong. I'm telling you, man. And for him to use his left hand against a smaller heavyweight like a Cunningham, like a Jonathan Banks, guys who are just a little bit smaller, not the huge, 6'6", 250-pound heavyweight. I think his left hand is going to be very effective in this fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. But I got Cunningham just pulling it off. I think he just has a little bit more left than Tarver, and I think this will probably end Tarver's dreams of becoming heavyweight champion. But if he were to beat Cunningham, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, when he went over to fight Danny Green, they just thought he was going to be an opponent for Green, just another name for Green. When he fought, of course, Roy Jones Jr., nobody thought that was going to happen. In the rematch, didn't nobody think he's going to knock Roy Jones out. But he's 46 years old, and I'm going to go with Cunningham in his fight, but I'm not going to count Tarver out. I think this is a 51-49 fight. It's a toss-up, but I would favor Cunningham 51-49 in this fight, man. I think he does have the hand speed advantage, or it's close. But both these guys got quick hands. I mean, you could probably say Tarver because he was at light heavyweight, but he's really not a guy that's going to go out there and throw a whole bunch of combinations. But I'm going to go with Cunningham in this fight by decision, and I think he will win the majority of the championship rounds, and he'll probably win this fight a close 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 5 type of fight. And if there is a knockdown, I think it'll be Tarver knocking down Cunningham. I'm out.